told me the night shift would be quiet. Nothing but dust, coffee, and the hum of neon. My manager chuckled as he slid the rule sheet across the counter. His tone didn't match his eyes. His smile was brittle, his gaze heavy. I unfolded the paper. 11 rules, simple at first glance. But the deeper I read, the colder my stomach grew. Rule 1. Always keep the lights on. If they flicker, do not look directly at them. Rule 2. Between 1 o'clock and 1:15 a.m., you may hear knocking at the back door. Do not answer, even if it sounds like me. Rule 3. If a man with no face comes in for gas, ring him up without question. Do not break eye contact. I laughed nervously, but no one else did. The gas station sat on the edge of the Arizona desert, miles from the nearest town. Saguaros stood like silent guards in the moonlight. The neon sign buzzed red and blue against the empty road. The desert wind carried whispers through the broken fence. My first night, I made coffee, stocked shelves, watched the clock. Nothing happened. I began to think the rules were a cruel joke. Then, at 1:07 a.m., the back door rattled. A steady knock, 3 times. Then silence. My skin prickled. I remembered Rule 2. My heart pounded. The knocking came again, louder this time, like fists demanding entry. "It's just the wind," I muttered. But then a voice seeped through the cracks, hoarse, familiar. "Hey, it's me. You forgot to sign the logbook." It was my manager's voice, perfectly the same. Except, my manager lived 20 miles away. I gripped the counter, every instinct screaming to check the door. The voice came again, more urgent. "Let me in. It's cold out here." My breath fogged in the fluorescent light. I did not move. The rule echoed in my head. Do not answer, even if it sounds like me. The knocking slowed, faded, stopped. By 1:20, silence returned. But I knew something had pressed its weight against that door, waiting for weakness. The nights stacked up. Each one brought stranger moments. At 2:33 a.m., the lights flickered, buzzing like angry insects. Shadows bent across the aisles. A dark smear slithered along the ceiling, twisting. I remembered Rule 1. Do not look directly. I forced my eyes down, pretending to study a candy bar wrapper. Out of the corner of my vision, the smear pulsed like a heart, stretching toward the register. Then, with a pop, the lights steadied. The shadow was gone. Another night, a customer came in. His face was smooth, blank, skin stretched tight with no mouth, no nose, no eyes. Yet somehow he looked at me. My throat closed. Rule 3. Do not break eye contact. I rang up his gas, my hands trembling. The faceless man stood perfectly still, head tilted. The air grew heavy, thick as oil. I placed the receipt on the counter. He reached with long fingers, took it, and walked out into the desert night. Only when the bell above the door jingled closed did I gasp for air. I thought I was surviving the rules, learning their rhythm. But then came the night I broke one, and I learned why the rules were written in the first place. It happened on my 6th shift. The rule sheet crinkled in my pocket, already worn soft from constant checking. That night felt wrong from the start. The desert was too quiet. Even the cicadas had gone silent. Around midnight, a man entered. His clothes were dusty, his eyes sunken. He didn't look strange, at least not at first. He asked for cigarettes. I rang them up. His hand shook as he reached for his wallet. That's when I noticed his shadow. It stretched too long, curling up the wall, bending against the light like it had a will of its own. My pulse raced. I scanned the rules in my head, desperate. Nothing mentioned shadows. I forced myself to act normal. He paid in crumpled bills, thanked me, and left. The bell above the door chimed, but his shadow lingered a moment longer, smearing against the tile before slipping out after him. By 1:04 a.m., the knocking started. I braced myself, whispering the rule aloud. Do not answer, even if it sounds like me. But this time, the voice was not my manager. It was my mother. Honey, it's cold. Please let me in. My blood turned to ice. My mother had been dead for 3 years. The knocks grew violent, shelves rattled. A bag of chips tumbled to the floor. My hands shook as I clutched the counter. Not real, I whispered. Not real. The knocking stopped. Silence pressed in, thicker than before. At 1:15, relief trickled back. But at 1:16, the front door creaked open on its own. Cold air rushed in. The aisles stirred. I grabbed the bat under the counter. The parking lot was empty, the desert still. Yet the bell above the door had rung. Something had entered. The fluorescent lights dimmed. A low hum vibrated through the floor, rattling cans on the shelves. My skin crawled. That's when I saw it. A figure crouched in the corner by the coffee machine. Small, childlike, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, watching me with eyes too wide, too dark. It whispered, barely audible. Rule 11. I froze. I didn't remember a Rule 11. There were only 10. I pulled the paper from my pocket with trembling fingers. My eyes scanned the list. 10 rules, clear as always. No 11th. The figure giggled, a broken sound like glass grinding against stone. Then it darted into the dark aisle, vanishing. I stood frozen, the hum fading, the lights brightening, the air returning to normal. But the fear lingered. That was the first time I felt the rules shifting, as if they were alive, as if they changed depending on me. Later that week, around 2:30 a.m., the lights flickered again. I stared hard at the counter, remembering the shadow on the ceiling. But this time, a voice whispered above me. Look up. It was soft, coaxing. Against every instinct, my eyes lifted. The smear had shape now, limbs stretching, a head bending down, mouth splitting wide across the ceiling. Rows of teeth shone in the dim light, grinning. I slammed my eyes shut, heart racing, whispering prayers I hadn't said since childhood. The buzzing grew louder, almost unbearable, before ending in a sharp pop. When I opened my eyes, the ceiling was bare. I couldn't breathe. The rules had saved me before, but now they weren't enough. Something else was bleeding through the cracks of that desert station. Something that knew I was there. I thought about quitting, but the job pinned me. Rent was due. Bills stacked high, and the manager's voice echoed in my head from orientation. Don't quit mid-shift, ever, no matter what happens. If you do, you won't make it home. I didn't understand what he meant, until the night I saw what waited for those who broke that rule. It was a Thursday, bone-dry desert air clinging to my throat. Around 3 a.m., headlights cut across the lot. A silver sedan pulled up. The driver stumbled out, pale, sweating. He wore our uniform. The name tag read Eddie. I didn't know Eddie, but the manager had mentioned him once. The last night guy. Didn't follow the rules. He staggered inside, mumbling. His skin sagged, loose like wax melting. His eyes were hollow sockets filled with shifting black. He clutched my shoulder with hands too cold, too damp. Don't quit, he rasped. His voice sounded layered, like many voices overlapping. They're waiting outside. The automatic doors hissed. Beyond the glass, I saw them. Figures standing in the desert road. Dozens, too many to count. Some tall, some child-sized, all motionless, all staring. The neon sign flickered, painting them in jerky frames like a broken film reel. I backed away. Eddie, or whatever wore his face, collapsed to the floor, body crumbling into ash that spread across the tile. The bell jingled once, soft, final. My hands shook as I clutched the rule sheet. 10 rules, no 11th. Yet the whisper of that child echoed in my head. Rule 11. I stumbled to the back office, desperate for answers. Filing cabinets loomed in the dim light. I yanked drawers open until papers spilled out. Incident reports. Logs. Each one dated, signed, and everyone ended the same way. Employee terminated. Did not follow protocol. I flipped one after another. Different names, different years. The notes blurred. Opened the door. Looked at the lights. Broke eye contact. Each entry ended with the same scrawl. Rule 11 pending. The clock struck 4 o'clock. The desert outside pulsed with stillness. The neon lights hummed. I sat in the office chair, the paper trembling in my hand, and realized the truth. The rules weren't about survival. They were containment. Something ancient pressed against this station. Something the desert itself wanted buried. The rules kept it in check. And now I was part of the cycle. The shift ended at dawn. I walked out, eyes burning from exhaustion. The road was empty. The figures gone. My manager's truck pulled up. He rolled down the window, smiling too wide. Made it through another night, huh? His eyes, in the sunlight, looked blacker than they should have. I wanted to quit, to run, to leave the desert behind. But the memory of Eddie's ash lingered. The figures outside lingered. The whisper lingered. And as I climbed into my car, the rule sheet heavy in my pocket, a final thought clawed through my mind. What happens when they add a 12th rule?